My name again is Brad Bloodworth. I am one of Summit County's criminal prosecutors who, along with Lindsay Shervinack and Fred Burmester, will present to you the state of Utah's aggravated murder case against KOURI Richins for causing the poisoning death of her husband and the father of her 3 children, Eric Richins. 2 weeks before murdering Eric Richins, KOURI Richins attempted to murder him. And 2 weeks before that, by fraud and forgery, she took out an insurance policy on his life.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
KOURI Richins believed she would inherit it all. She believed that she would inherit Eric's $2 million interest in a stonemasonry business, an interest that a prenuptial agreement prevented her from getting any part of if they divorced, but permitted her to get all of if Eric died while they were married. 3 months before Eric's death, KOURI Richins booked a $4,000, 5-night, all-inclusive vacation for her and her boyfriend, Robert Josh Grossman, at the Secrets St. Martin's Resort and Spa in the Caribbean. They were to check in the month after Eric died. One day before the charge attempted murder, KOURI Richins text messaged Josh Grossman, "If I was divorced right now and asked you to marry me tomorrow, you would? I just want to lay on the couch and cuddle you. Watch a murder documentary and snuggle." 5 days after the charged attempted murder and 11 days before the charged murder, KOURI Richins text messaged Josh Grossman, "Babe, I miss you. I want you today, every day. Not just sexually, but physically, mentally, every day when I wake up. I do want a future together. I do want you. Figure life out together. If he could just go away. And you could just be here. Life would be so perfect. I love you. I don't know what my deal is today. I'm sorry." 1 week before the charged murder, KOURI Richins text messaged her boyfriend, "I have a crazy dream. You quit your job. I divorce and come up with millions and millions. We buy Midway and live in the guest house and rent out the huge house as a big event center. $15,000 a day like they charge down the road, maybe $12,000 to stay competitive. And we will just run the event center as our daily job and hang out every day, raise some kids, have a little farm. Deal?" Just over 2 weeks after Eric Richins' death, KOURI Richins text messaged her boyfriend a link to the Secret St. Martin's Resort and Spa in the Caribbean and asked, "Are we there yet?" 1 month and 5 days after Eric Richins' death, KOURI Richins texted, "I think I want you to be my husband one day." The evidence will prove that on February the 11th, 2022, 3 days before the charged attempted murder, Carmen Lauber, at KOURI Richins' request, purchased illicit pills from a street drug dealer who was a friend of a friend. And she gave those pills to KOURI Richins. 3 days later, on Valentine's Day, KOURI Richins purchased a sandwich from the Mirror Lake Diner and left it for Eric Richins. She then departed Camas and met up with Josh Grossman an hour away. At 11:33 that morning, Eric texted KOURI Richins, "I'm gonna lay down for a bit. If I don't start getting better, I'm gonna head to the hospital soon." Shortly thereafter, all activity on Eric's cell phone ceased for nearly 90 minutes in the middle of a busy workday. A few days after that, KOURI Richins asked Carmen Lauber if she could get something stronger. Carmen Lauber, again at KOURI Richins' request, purchased pills from the same street dealer at the same Maverick in Draper. The evidence will prove that those illicit pills contained fentanyl. He had several times a lethal amount of fentanyl in his blood and more in his stomach. And that extraordinary amount of fentanyl was intentional, not accidental. Regarding the morning of Eric Richins' death, KOURI Richins wrote in a notebook that she entered their room at 3:20 a.m. She saw that when she nudged Eric, nothing happened. She grabbed her phone and called 911. She first grabbed her phone at least 3:06 a.m. and delayed calling 911 at least 15 minutes. Regarding the morning of Eric Richins' death, KOURI Richins wrote in a notebook that she entered their room at 3:20 a.m. She saw that when she nudged Eric, nothing happened. She grabbed her phone and called 911. She first grabbed her phone at least 3:06 a.m. and delayed calling 911 at least 15 minutes. Along the lines of both cover-up and guilty conscience, KOURI Richins' text messages and other data from KOURI Richins' phone for the 2 months leading up to Eric Richins' death and a week or two after have all been deleted. Police seized that phone. She got a new phone. And on that new phone, there were the following internet searches. Can cops uncover deleted messages iPhone? Can you delete everything off an old iPhone without actually having it? Can deleted text messages be retrieved from an iPhone? How to completely wipe an iPhone clear remotely? How to permanently delete information from an iPhone remotely? On April the 13th, 2022, about 5 weeks after Eric Richins' death, detectives informed KOURI Richins that the autopsy and toxicology results show that Eric died of fentanyl poisoning. Thereafter, searches on her phone include If someone is poisoned, what does it go down on the death certificate as? Can cops force you to do a lie detector test? Women, Utah prison, luxury prisons for the rich in America. Almost a year after Eric Richins' death, when KOURI Richins knew the police were investigating her for his death, KOURI Richins published a children's book on how to deal with the loss of a parent. And she promoted that children's book on local television and local radio.
What's the address of the emergency? My husband's not breathing. He's cold. Okay, what's the address? 282 Willow Court. 282 Willow Court? Uh-huh. Okay, what's a good phone number in case we get disconnected? 435 671 1987. Okay, it's going to be in Francis. Okay, tell me exactly what happened. I don't know. I just came in. I was sleeping with my kids. Okay, I can't understand you. I need you to take a deep breath. What's going on? I don't know. I was sleeping in with my kids. I just came in our bed, and I turned over, and he's just cold. He's just cold. Who's cold? My husband. I turned the light on. And he's not breathing? No. He's not breathing? No. I need you to confirm it for me. Is he not breathing? No. Okay, can you do CPR? No. I don't know how. You don't know? I'm going to tell you how to. Are you willing to do CPR? Yeah. Okay.
And what's more important is that the boys adored their father, adored him. And KOURI knew that about her sons and about her family. Their marriage had survived through some rough times, and you're going to hear about that. Like any marriage, it wasn't a perfect marriage. They'd gone through a really bad year where they both contemplated divorce, and they did what a lot of couples do. They went to marriage counseling, they worked it out, and they decided to stick it out, and they did. KOURI also told the police the day that they came to the house that she believed Eric might have had what we call a marijuana gummy. You're going to hear Eric loved marijuana gummies. He used them a lot. And the police found a whole bunch of them in the house, in his things, in his clothes, in his closet. You know, he was a marijuana gummy user. Slide 8. These are all gummies that the police found in Eric's things. Some of them, you can tell, had commercial bags where he bought them from dispensaries. Some were in clear bags that he bought from somewhere else, the location unknown. And you're going to hear that Scott Wagner talked to him at 10 o'clock that night. That when Scott Wagner talked to him, he did not sound drunk. He did not sound high. He did not sound like he was on fentanyl or anything else. That there was no sound of the wife or children in the background. That he was alert, that he was having a totally normal conversation with Scott. And this was at 10 p.m. When Eric died, his Apple Watch was hanging on a charger, nice and neat. His phone was in a charger on the nightstand. He was lying in his underwear, like when you go to bed, and he was on his back on his side of the bed. So it appears pretty clear that Eric went to bed and fell asleep and died in his sleep. That there was an empty pill bottle right next to him in his nightstand. And I want you to pay careful attention to this. The empty pill bottle expired in 2016. After 4 years of investigation and 5 weeks of this trial, you know what you're never going to hear? Is how that fentanyl got inside of him. because there is zero evidence of that. To this day, slide 11, please. You're going to see that his death certificate, oh, that's the wrong thing, Katie. Just take it down. Sorry about that. That's the wrong thing. To this day, the medical examiner, the professional that's the head of declaring how people die in the state of Utah, has never been able to determine the manner of Eric Richins' death. But did she tell the police or the medical responders or the EMS, hey guys, you might want to check for fentanyl, my husband used it all the time? Did she do that? Because with one sentence, she could have taken all suspicion off her and made this about a drug overdose. But she didn't. As a matter of fact, she could have staged a whole drug overdose scene with fentanyl pills on his stomach and everything all over the place and say, gosh, you know, I tried to get him in rehab for years and I couldn't. But she didn't. And you know why? Because she told her truth. She told her truth over and over again, and it's exactly what she told that 911 operator. Eric's sisters spoke with the detective in the driveway. This is before anyone in the house knows how Eric died. If he had a heart attack, if he had an aneurysm, a lot of people were talking about aneurysms at the scene, and you're going to hear that. Nobody knew yet how he died. The sisters were telling the police, Corey probably did this. Corey probably did this, day one. Now, as you've already heard from this prosecutor, they're going to spend weeks in this trial trying to convince you that Corey had reasons to kill her husband, because they can't show you that she did kill her husband. But if you think there is a real possibility that she is not guilty, you must give her the benefit of the doubt and find her not guilty. And that's the burden that's on your table. When you go back into that jury room, that's going to be on y'all's table.